I had this philosophy that fever is not a disease. If a kid gets a temperature, it just tells you that something's happening in the body. And if a kid had a flu or something, had a fever, and you brought it down, they still have the flu. Is that true?
Well, that's one of the big points. That's part of the education of a new patient. Fever is absolutely a symptom. It is not a disease until she starts reading it. When it starts reaching a certain degree, such as 106 or above, where you're dealing with a pathological process, then fever is working against you. But for the average child, average infection that the child has, fever is helping you deal with the infection. In fact, there's been studies showing that if you are overeager in knocking down the fever, you really end up prolonging the illness.
In fact, most people say if it's under 102, the kid's playful.
Yeah, I use 102 as my guideline. I don't treat fever unless it's 102 or above.
So we agree on something.
We always agree.
Okay. And
we've been around long enough to agree.
And we work about the term called a toxic presentation. That's a kid that's irritable, light bothers the kid's eyes, doesn't know who's in the room. That's a kid that's very disoriented. But if a kid's playful, usually those kids have a relatively benign cause.
Yeah, for example, let me give you an example. It also has to do with it's an age variable also. Yesterday we had no, it wasn't yesterday, the day before yesterday, we had a 2-month-old baby that came in because of crying. And temperature was 100, which is normal. Nothing separate. It wasn't anything to talk about. But immediately I was concerned. The baby was irritable crying, less than 2 months of age. And I was very concerned about the baby, concerned enough to order a sepsis workup and a spinal tap in the emergency room. So fever was not the determinant.
And you and I have been along that we've had meningitis with virtually no temperature.
Absolutely.
And we've had many 104 and 5s. And the biggest complaint is I had to wait in the office, the kid went home okay.
Yeah, I usually feel more comfortable when the child's responding, child over 2 years of age is responding with a temperature of 102.
So in other words, fever is not a disease.
Fever helps me because fever is a way the body is working against the illness.